Hi guys, this is and my friend Samshu. We are going to give introduction about Power BI and what it will do. So I'm just starting about like what is Power BI and what is the importance of Power BI in nowadays, like what is happening in the market. So what are the different visualization tools and why like Microsoft Power BI is one of the leading reporting visualization tool. So what is data visualization and why data visualization is important? So let's start with that and then let's go into Power BI and let's see what is Power BI architecture and all those things. Okay. So, data visualization is the presentation of data in a pictorial or graphical format. So, when you see the particular report or dashboard, normally human brain is amazing and especially at recognizing shapes and patterns. So the connection between eye and brain is very fast when seen the pictures. Suppose like I'll just show it up one example like number of products sold by each color. So when you see this table, you have to go to the each row and each value you have to compare and you have to find out which one sold more, which color product sold more. But if you come to the bar chart, you can directly say by seeing the like biggest bar in the chart saying that black color products sold more. So that is the reason visualization tools are like getting more importance in the market nowadays. So that is the reason like the success of visualization tools. uh, so just let's now discuss what is Power BI. It's a cloud based visualization tool launched in 2015, and Power BI is a business analytics service provided by Microsoft. It provides interactive visualizations with self service business intelligence capabilities, where end user can create reports and dashboards by themselves without having to depend on the information technology staff or database administrators. So if you like IT team involves there, but if you make the data set ready, business people can create their own reports by using the data sets. So we are speaking about data sets or the data source. So let's see what are the different data sources supported by Power BI. So Power BI supports almost majority of data sources used in the market today: Excel, SQL Server, Oracle, cloud databases, websites, big data, etc. So, and another thing is Power BI supports cloud-based. Power BI supports on-premise data sources also. On-premise is nothing but like the organizations who don't want to go to who don't want to use cloud, so they can use their data from internal organizations. So that is on-premise. So data sources also supported. Next, let's see like what are the components available in Power BI. So then we will go to Power BI architecture and what is the process. Let's see like that. So the components of Power BI are like Power BI desktop. The first component, it comes as Power BI desktop. Why I'm telling Power BI Desktop? This is the area where you develop all the data sets or reports, whatever required for users. So Power BI Desktop is mainly a development component available only on Windows, and this is a free tool in the market. And we can do following things, like just like if you say what Power BI Desktop will do, we can connect to data and we can transform the data, and then we can model the data, and then we can create reports, and then finally we'll publish the reports into Power BI service. So these are the steps we do when when we use Power BI Desktop. The next component, Power BI Query Editor. The Power BI Query Editor also part of the Power BI Desktop. This is the ETL component of Power BI. So what you would like, what we can do by using Power BI Query Editor. So first one, like once you get the data, we can do like we can transform data from one form to another form. That is one thing. Next thing is like we can change data types. Another thing is like we can merge the data from two queries by joining. We can do append. Append is nothing but union all. Here union all, like when you do append operate, like append transformation in Power BI Query Editor, it will not remove the duplicates. It will include the duplicates. After doing that step, you have to take care of removal of duplicate records. And then next we can do like creating a new columns or new measures using Power BI Query Editor. So another thing is we can merge two columns. We can do single split of column, like a column into multiple columns, like we can do split. So all ETL operations like transforming data. So we can do all these things. Why we do all these things? Why we need to do all these, like whatever we just like whatever is we spoke until now? So sometimes like all of your data may not be ready to use to create the reports. So you have to do some transformations on the data received from the business. So to make our data structure or to meet our data requirements, we will use Power Query Editor. That is in Power BI Desktop. That is part of Power BI Desktop. So note is like if your data is ready to use, you can directly create the reports. No need to go to Power BI Query Editor. If your data is like normalized and you can directly create reports, then no need to go to Power BI Query Editor. You can directly load the data into Power BI Desktop and you can create your own visualizations by using that. So that is the another component, like whatever part of Power BI Desktop. So another component of Power BI Desktop is Power Pivot. That is like data modeling component of Power BI. That is also part of Power BI Desktop only. To load, after loading the data into Power BI, first thing is you have to create relationships between different tables. So the main thing in Power BI Desktop is once you load the data, once you have made some transformations across all the tables, next step is you have to create the relationship. That we will do in Power Pivot, means relationship view. If you talk like in respective to Power BI Desktop terminology, we will do the relationships in relationship view under Power BI Desktop. Another thing is like we can create hierarchies, we can create relationships, and we can remove like we can hide unwanted columns. Everything we will do in relationship view, we can do those things. and hiding columns from the business that can be done in report view also. Another component of Power, like let's go to the next component of Power BI desktop, that is report view. Report view or Power View, whatever it might be, you can call it. So the first thing we do is like one you have imported data into Power BI desktop, and you have made some transformations, and finally your data set is ready. So now you will use that data set in report view, and you will create some visualizations like bar charts, line charts, pie charts, scatter plots, waterfall chart. So it is you can like you will create whatever based on your requirement. Then once you feel that your report is done, you will publish into Power BI service. This is like Power BI service is nothing but cloud based Power BI service, like web based service. It was built on cloud, and it is a it simply just sits on cloud. Just subscription is required, no installation required for this. Power BI desktop you have to install, and you have to prepare the metadata, like you have to transform the data and you have to create the reports. But Power BI service is sits on cloud. Just you have to subscribe, like you have to have the license, and just no installation required. That is one thing. And developers will use this Power BI service to create a dashboards cannot be created in Power BI desktop. You have to remember this one. And administrators will use this Power BI service to do admin tasks like security and sharing dashboards, or sharing reports across the organization, or creating different users and user groups in like if you want to have this set of reports to particular user group, those users groups will be created by admins. And another task in Power BI service, like consumers use this Power BI service to access their reports and dashboards created by the developers or shared across the organization. Like this, all content whatever available in Power BI service will be consumed by the users. So that is the use of Power BI service. This is the another component of Power BI. Let's go to another component like Power BI Q&A. It is a very good feature Microsoft given in Power BI to say like when you have like normally we will type question, and whatever you are doing in Google, it is giving some answer. Suppose if you are searching, I want to see bar chart, so it will show some examples like that. If you type the question in Power BI Q&A feature, it will give the visualizations based on the data set what you have selected over there. So in terms, Power BI answers your questions, and it gives the visualizations based on the probability, like combinations, different categories, like how many categories of data you have, and based on those categories, what chart will give which kind of visualization. So it gives multiple visualizations based on your data. So it like it uses behind, like Power BI uses artificial intelligence, and it provides you the sample visualizations. That is another component of Power BI. Power BI Q&A. It is very powerful, natural, naturally, like it's a powerful feature. Like you can use those visualizations to pin on your dashboard as well. So that is the one. Like let's see. Now we'll go to the Power BI architecture. Just let me show what is Power BI architecture. So let's see this one. This is the Power BI architecture. As I told, it is a cloud-based tool. Like Power BI is a cloud-based visualization tool. What is like how? What is the flow? Like how the data will be used, and how it manages, like how where like where this starts the task and how it flow across different different lines. So first thing is you need to have source. So it source might be Excel or text or CSV files or different databases like Microsoft SQL Server or Oracle or DB2 something, and Azure SQL or Tabular or multidimensional or SharePoint. So whatever the data sources, different data sources, I have just given examples of here, and then the data sources will be used in Power BI desktop with like that. Power BI desktop will be used by the IT people like report developers or Power BI developers. They do all the uh, like once you import data into Power BI desktop, they do all the transformations over here Power BI desktop, and then they will share, like they will publish the reports finally into Power BI service. Whatever the reports published into the Power BI service, we will use those reports to create the dashboards in Power BI service. Once dashboards and reports are ready, you can create apps like apps and content packs to share across the organization. What is apps and content packs? We will see in the next slides. So another thing is like users who consume the reports. This is the final one. And entire this like this entire architecture, Microsoft divided into two different clusters. So let's see what are those. One is web front end cluster and another one is black back end cluster. So as Power BI is, I told like Power BI is a cloud based one. So it is like software as a service. It offers software as a service. So let's see what is web front end cluster and what is back end cluster. So web normally web front end cluster will handle the security. So it's like authentication process. It handles authentication process. Once like suppose one user have tried to access the report whatever he has access to. So once the request received by Power BI service, web front-end cluster checks the authentication. So generally, let's go to the diagram of the cluster, like how the Microsoft provided. So once request received from the web, that goes to gateway role. First step as a first step. So then it verifies the like credentials like act from the Active Directory and then goes to the gateway role, and then it sends that final request to the presentation role and data role, process role, and Azure or like whatever it is. So from there it do the process in the back end, and finally it gives the required output to the public internet boundary. So this is the diagram like how the cluster design created by Microsoft Power BI. So main thing is web front end and back end. So the back end cluster manages Power BI service activities, and web front end cluster handles connectivity and authentication. So this is the diagram given by the Microsoft Power BI. I have the source is Microsoft Power BI service. That's it. So let's see the different terminologies used in Microsoft Power BI and what all terminologies used in the development part. So Power BI desktop, we already discussed like from like when I have started with Power BI, what is Power BI and what is Power BI desktop and what are different components in Power BI desktop. So I'm just moving to Power BI service. Power BI service also we discussed. It's a web-based service and no installation required for this. This Power BI service used to share the reports or the dashboards across the organization, or this is like used by the consumers, like end users will use Power BI service to see their reports. So that is the main advantage, and like admins can use Power BI service to do administrative tasks, and Q&A feature is the biggest like achievement by Microsoft. If you type some question like by selecting the data set, automatically it uses artificial language in behind, and it generates some visualizations. So Power BI service is the major cloud based service. And another one is Power BI mobile apps. The whatever the reports published in Power BI service can be seen in Power BI mobile too. This is another component given by Microsoft. This on-premise gateway, we need to concentrate on this little bit. So whoever don't want to go to cloud-based service, then they can install a gateway at an enterprise level or personal mode. What is personal mode and what is enterprise mode? So if you install Power BI gateway as an enterprise mode, everything whichever published into Power BI service can be shared across the organization. If you use Power BI gateway as a personal mode, you cannot share the content what you have published into Power BI service with entire organization. That is for yourself. That's it. The next component is Power BI report server. So what is Power BI report server and what is Power BI service? Power BI service is cloud based. When you don't want to go to cloud based services, Power BI report server is for on premise. So that's it. Like for this, Power BI report server requires a Power BI premium license. Okay. So another component of Power BI is Power BI embedded. Whatever you created in Power BI, you can embed with different websites or like external websites. So that is another component of Power BI. You just take the code like a URL, and you can directly use that, and you can integrate in SharePoint or external websites, whatever it is. Once you publish like by using Power BI embedded, it is open to all. It is not like secured. They can see the data, whatever there and whatever you have published. Keep in mind that is enterprise level setting. Just like you have to manage that as like like admins will take care of that normally. So whoever admin, they will take care. So what is Power BI terminal? Another terminology like in Power BI desktop, these are the rows, tables, data sets, reports, and dashboards. These all will be part of Power BI desktop, and data sets and reports and dashboards are part of Power BI service too. And apps, app workspace, and content packs purely on Power BI service, not on Power BI desktop. So let's see what is data sets and what is reports and what is dashboard. Normally, in other tools, you might create the dashboards or reports, whatever it is. But here, data set means whatever you have imported into Power BI, you will make transformation, and final data set will that is called data set. So then by using that data set, you can create multiple reports or single report, and then you will publish into Power BI service. Then there you will create the dashboards by using single report or multiple report. Once dashboard or report is ready, we will create apps by using that reports or dashboards. In the apps, you can select whatever report or dashboard to be part of that app. When you select a report or dashboard, the corresponding dashboard like a data sets required for that report automatically linked in apps too. So the apps and content packs are the new sharing methods across the enterprise. That is the main advantage. What is the difference between apps and content packs? We will see in the next slides. App workspace is just like a folder. It's like you will create a folder, and you will create the reports, or you will create the dashboards and data sets in the particular workspace. Like we'll see in the next slides like what is what. So until now we discussed what is Power BI. Just I have given the summary, like what is self-service data analysis, what is organizational reporting, what is embedded analytics, and what is streaming. So these all definitions we have spoke. Will explain this like in 2 to 3 lines. So just given the summary, what is the scenarios of Power BI. So the next, if you see the Power BI terminology, I told content packs and apps. So the apps will be created in Power BI service app.powerbi.com here. And if you see the content packs, you can create a new content pack or you can view the content pack. The practical session we will see in the next class, next session. There you can directly experience the like how to create workspaces or apps or content packs or data sets, whatever it is. So here is the like view where you can create apps and where you can go and create content packs. These two will be created in Power BI service app.powerbi.com. So I have mentioned like once when you create app or content pack, whatever you selected, like report, one report you selected, the corresponding data set will be linked automatically. That is the part, like that is just I have given a visual appeal here. So here you have 10 reports, 4 dashboards, and 3 data sets. You selected 2 reports and 1 dashboard. So here it will show 2 reports and 1 dashboard. Here data set will be 1, but you have 3 data sets here. Whatever the report or dashboard you selected, the corresponding data set automatically linked to apps. So that is the just visual appeal I have given here. The next point is like what is apps and what is content pack. Just like I given the differences, like if you use Power BI apps, it will have one-to-one relationship with an app workspace. You cannot exclude reports from being published if they exist on the workspace. Another thing is this can help trace app components more easily compared to content packs. content Content packs can be copied, whereas Power BI apps cannot. This is the main difference between apps and content packs. So means like once you publish app and content pack, you cannot copy app, but you can copy content pack and you can edit the content pack and it acts independent content pack. Once you copy as a different content pack, users can copy content pack. Once they copy the content pack, that delinks from the original data set and it will act as an independent data set. So that is the main advantage of content pack. So just go like that is the main like a difference. And with an app, users always have latest and greatest version of the reports. And another thing is previously consumers would often get lost trying to find content packs as Power BI service would place them on the user workspace. With apps, there is a new link on the Power BI service navigation menu that takes you specifically to apps where you have connected to. Let's see the different. Now I want to discuss about different storage modes. So this is the one like first storage mode I'm taking as import, because when you open Power BI desktop, the default storage mode will be import. So when you use import, you will import different data from different types of data from different data sources, and that will be stored in Power BI. There you will Power BI in-memory engine will take care of the data and it do the backend compressions on call like a in-memory engine on columnar fashion. So once you import the data, there you will perform the relation, like you create the relationships and then you will create the different calculations required. and then you will create the reports and you will publish the reports into Power BI desktop, Power BI service, sorry. So all these actions, once you use import mode, the data will bring into Power BI desktop. So all the data will be stored in Power BI desktop, and PBIX file size will be increased based on the data volume. Okay. The another data storage mode is direct query mode or live connection. Let's discuss about direct query mode and then go to live connection. So direct query mode and live connection both are same, but it uses like differs between the data sources. That's it. Direct query mode uses any database, SQL Server, DB2, Oracle, whatever it is. It is meant for databases, not to any. So once you import, like once you try to get the data into Power BI desktop, it always connects to the database. After you connect to the data source, you can create relationships, or you can create the reports, whatever it is, and report level calculations means calculated new measures. So once required calculations or relationships or whatever required to create the visualizations, you can create a report and then publish onto Power BI service. So the direct query is always like whenever you file, like whenever you try to access the report, it always gets the data from database. It always files the query against the data source. That's the direct query. Another thing is live connection. Live connection is meant for multi-dimensional data. Here also in-memory engine will plays major role. You can build tabular like cubes by using tabular or multi-dimensional. We have two kinds of options we have if you are using Microsoft Stack. One is tabular, another thing is MDX, like DAX. Like a tabular will be done by using DAX, and multi-dimensional by using MDX. So this is meant for live connection, is meant for cubes. Multidimensional is meant for cubes. Once you import data into Power BI desktop, tabular, no, sorry. Once you import data into SQL Server analysis services, tabular data modeling in-memory engine will hold the data and it compresses, and then you will use for calculation, and then you will create a project by using SSAS tabular. The tabular or MD, like multi-dimensional, you have to select when you are trying to create a new project. Once you created, you cannot go back and convert into MDX. So that you have to note it. And once your tabular model is ready, you will import into Power BI desktop, and directly you will create the reports because you have already manipulated the data over here. So just import and you can create the reports, and you can publish into Power BI service finally. So here tabular in-memory engine plays major role. For import, Power BI in-memory engine will play a major role here. So these are the three different storage modes. Now we will see summary of each mode, and then we'll see the finally we will see the differences, like what is the advantage with the import mode and what is the advantage with the direct query mode and live connection. So if you see the direct query, your data needs to be refreshed more quickly than it can feasibly be loaded into a Power BI imported dataset or analysis services. So another thing is like regulatory concerns mean that your data cannot be stored in Power BI imported dataset or analysis services database. So like these points are like when to use direct query. So the source for this information is like I have used from Razorrad. Just like I educate myself by using different websites. So just you guys can also go ahead and learn from there. It is a very good education, Power BI education service. Another point is like your data volumes are so large that that the data you need cannot be loaded into Power BI imported dataset or analysis service. Your dataset is simple, consists of relatively few tables and relationships. You are using very few DAX measures or calculated columns in your report. Another time, like you are using a data source such as SQL Server that supports direct query mode. So these are the points like you can keep in mind to use direct query mode. Another thing is live connection. When you have to use live connection, just go through the points. Like we'll go through the points, and later in the after completing this will be in YouTube. You can follow the points again. I'm just going point by point. You already have all the data, and you need in analysis multidimensional cubes or ideally analysis tabular service models. What is the difference between multidimensional and tabular models? We will see in the next sessions. Row level security is required, but means RLS within individual Power BI datasets would introduce too much management overhead. And your end user do not need to customize datasets. Like you don't want to make end users to customize again once you publish. At that time, you can create whatever the data set required in like complete data sets manipulation in live analysis services. So then you can go for live connection. So because in analysis services we create a cube like by using DAX. There we will calculate every measure, like we will create new measures or new calculations whatever required. So end user no need to create any additional calculations for them. Whatever required you have already created in analysis services. At that time you go to live connection. So there are different like points, you can go through that. The next thing is Power BI summary of data modes, like use imported data sets stored in Power BI premium storage instead of analysis service. Here, like we have to discuss about licensing part also. One is pro license and another one is premium license. If you have premium license, you can store your data sets under your dedicated capacity. That is nothing but it is owned by your organization. If you have pro license, if you don't have premium license, that means you are sharing the capacity with external world. So that you keep in mind. So just go through these points, and now we'll see the differences, like what is import, what is direct query, what is live connection. So when you use import, it will be fastest like possible connection. Next thing is like Power BI is fully functional, and fully functional in perspective, like if you want to see what if kind of analysis, yes, you can see, you can perform the task by using Power BI desktop, and you can publish that. And some DAX functions like will not work if you use direct query mode, like time intelligence functions. But if you use import query mode, you can do functionality of DAX fully. So full Power BI query editor transformations will be possible with import mode. Only thing is Power BI file size limitation. That is the only disadvantage I see with the import. And another thing is you have to make sure that like data set was refreshed properly daily. So you have to make sure that another thing. And if you go with direct query mode, large scale data sources will be supported and no size limitation. Here the advantages like pre-built models in some data sources can be used instantly. No need to do any additional transformations on these data sets, like whatever you are importing in a direct query mode or live connection. The disadvantage is like you can do limited Power BI query editor functionality. Mean like DAX is very limited, and you cannot combine from multiple data sources. But if you use import mode, you can combine from multiple data sources. But Microsoft trying to release uh, like combining data from multiple data sources even when you are using direct query mode. So it might come in future, but not now. Another thing is performance might go down because if you are using large scale data by using direct query mode, so you might experience little bit performance. So the same thing with live connection also. If you do everything by using DAX or MDX in SSAS, and you might not need Power BI query editor functionality. So just make sure like whatever required, whatever data source like storage mode required for your requirement, just decide based on the points here like given here, or go through the Microsoft education site. The resource whichever I have used is Microsoft and Reserad and Pragmatic Works or some other educational sites. Like you can go through different channels to learn. Thank you for joining, and I'm winding up the session. We can, if you have any questions, just add a comment in the session. Just I'll try to answer answer to that comments. Thank you very much for joining the session.